to live stream now. Thanks. I'll pass it to you, Heidi. Thanks. Welcome, everyone.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for spending some time with me. And it's so sweet to see some of you I know who I haven't seen in a while. And those I don't know, it's really lovely to meet you and to share this hour with you. So thank you for taking time out of your day. What we'll do is we'll start with a sit and then check in. And I'll offer a bit of a Dharma talk always with plenty of time to talk with each other. So, is there anybody here for whom this is your first time coming to Big Bear? Well, welcome back, everybody, and thank you for coming. And if you want to join me in a month, I will be teaching a retreat at Big Bear in person with Lori Cousins, but we can talk more about that later. All right, so I want to invite you to find a posture that feels good in your body. Maybe you're seated, maybe you're standing, you might be reclining. Whatever it is, no pushing at all. Let this be at ease and comfortable, yet awake. Totally awake. This quality of presence here in your mind, in your heart, in your body. If you'd like to close your eyes, close your eyes. If not, inviting a gentle gaze downward. Softening the face and the jaw, letting the shoulders melt a little bit, releasing the belly. Sensing into the places your body is touching, whatever it's connected to. The furniture, the floor. Imagining the whole building that you're in and how it's connected to the earth. Giving over the weight of the body to the support of the furniture and the support of the earth. Making space for the breath to come and go. However you're breathing is just right. The inhale, the exhale. That lovely space at the end of the exhale before the next inhale arrives. So breathe and know you're breathing. Be here in the body and know you're here in the body. Welcoming yourself into this time of practice, a time of non-doing, simply being here. We'll sit quietly for a little bit. You might scan down through the body, just noticing if there's any place that might be holding a little constriction, and simply noticing and allowing your caring, gentle energy to surround it, infuse any place that needs it with care. Just moving through the body like that, then landing back with your breath or a sensation or any practice that you have. And whatever's happening in the mind, know that the thoughts come and go. And they're simply thoughts, electrical impulses that draw the attention. This beautiful teaching from Suzuki Roshi, he said, keep your front door and back door open. Let the thoughts come and go. Just don't invite them in for tea. Keep your front door and back door open. Let the thoughts come and go. Just don't invite them in for tea. This practice of getting out of the way of all of the impulses, resting back. Sensing into the quiet that is arising simply by sitting here for this time. Can you sense in to that quiet place that is stable, that is reliable? It might be tiny, and that's enough. But when the thoughts come and go, and there's space for them to come and go, that deep core of stability and stillness and quiet starts to show itself. Any amount is the right amount. Perhaps remembering why you're here. What was the inspiration for coming to Sangha today? And letting the goodness of that be with you. Be right here in this quiet, stable, still place. Drawing the awareness now into the heart space. However you sense your own heart center. And if you enjoy the practice of the heart's breath, breathing, imagine breathing in and out of the heart space, in from every direction and back out into every direction. Do that for the next minute or so, nurturing the heart. You can even place a hand on the chest if that feels right for you, to connect your body with the warmth of itself right over the heart. Knowing that every breath in, the heart receives nurturing. Every breath in brings this nurturing energy to the heart space. And every breath out is also an offering of your goodness. Every breath out is also the acknowledgement of all that is true in your world and outside of yourself right now. And every breath out is a releasing of all that wants to be released, a receiving and an acknowledgement, a releasing and an offering, the heart's breath. I'll offer you this poem from Martha Postlethwaite. It's called Clearing. Do not try to save the whole world or do anything grandiose. Instead, create a clearing in the dense forest of your life and wait there patiently until the song that is your life falls into your own cupped hands and you recognize it and greet it. Only then will you know how to give yourself to this world so worthy of rescue. Welcome back. I love that poem, Clearing a Space. Don't try to do anything grandiose. Isn't that beautiful permission to show up, see what's needed, and then you'll know how to give yourself to what is necessary. So I invite everybody who's not on camera to turn your camera on if that works for you. It's fun to see who else is here in Sangha as we practice together. Thank you, Melanie. I really appreciate it. I keep my camera on gallery view because it feels like I'm in the room with everybody. So I love that. So I can see everybody. So I want to talk today about the work of Zen peacemakers. Anybody familiar with Zen peacemakers? Yeah, Michelle, you are. So Zen peacemakers is an organization that was started in the late 80s, 90s from Roshi Bernie Glassman, who was a giant of a Zen teacher around not only Zen practice, but social action as a way to meet the suffering of the world and to help resolve this suffering. And he taught what were called bearing witness retreats. And bearing witness retreats is exactly what it says, showing up into difficult places and being there. And he started out by teaching these retreats in New York City on the streets, and encouraged his students to go hang out with people who were unhoused and be with them in the streets. They were called these street retreats. And so that took off as a way for one's spiritual practice to meet engaged social action. And ultimately, he began what are known as bearing witness retreats. And he took these retreats to Auschwitz, and they're still happening. And Roshi Glassman he died a few years ago, but these retreats are going on as a way to connect all of our suffering towards empathy and compassion, and not as a way to say horrible harms. That doesn't condone them, but what it does is help us meet the reality of them. And so he created, inside of Zen peacemakers, 3 tenets by which Zen peacemakers frame their practice and the approach to this. And these 3 tenets are not knowing, bearing witness, and taking action. And I'll unpack those 3 today. But the mission and the vision of Zen peacemakers is this. Our mission is to realize our oneness and relieve suffering through contemplative social action. We envision an enlightened society where suffering is transformed into wisdom and compassion, and all beings live in harmony and are relieved of the afflictions of hunger, war, and disease. Spirituality and service are tools we use to help all beings find freedom regardless of race, religion, ability, gender, nationality, etc. So it's beautiful I appreciate that in this mission statement that we envision a society like this, because that sets the energy of intention to envision. And it doesn't say we must have, because this is a practice of intention, of knowing the difference between goals and vows and commitments and attachments. But the commitment towards waking up is where we need to keep going. And this is the path of the Bodhisattva, the one who says, yeah, the world is suffering and I'm going to meet it. And knowing that this is lifelong. It's said around Bodhisattva practice that you just step onto the path and it's thousands of miles long. So you just come along and we do this work together. So the first of these tenets is not knowing. This is huge. This is huge because every single one of us is conditioned by our genetics, our families of origin, our communities, everything that we've been exposed to. And we live pretty much in a culture of mastery that says the more you know, the more power you have. And this goes right against the stream of that. And Suzuki Roshi said, in the beginner's mind, there are many possibilities, but in the expert's mind, there are few. That is a big teaching, to unpack what does it mean to have beginner's mind, to not know, to come into contact with one's own fixed views and opinions about myself, about you, about the world, all the shoulds and shouldn'ts that each one of us has, and to know the difference between our values and our fixed views. What is a view? What is an opinion? What is a value? This is not easy, and I don't have it all figured out. And this is why I love the invitation to practice beginner's mind. So no matter what I come to, can I see it as fresh and new and what I might learn? Oftentimes, when one comes into the intimacy of one's own views, you can bump up against core limiting beliefs. And a core limiting belief, there are core beliefs that each one of us has, of course. And hopefully through all of the practices and our own deep wisdom, these beliefs center around harmlessness, around goodness, around wholesomeness, around justice and fairness and compassion. But as in the Metta Sutta it says, omitting none, may all beings be at ease, omitting none. And therein lies the trick. So that belief system, what are the belief systems, core belief systems that you have, that I have, that limit my ability or your ability to keep a wide perspective, to practice omitting none? Now, omitting none means you don't have to like everybody. You're not going to like everybody. I'm not going to. But it does mean not holding grudge. It does mean not letting ill will get its hooks inside of you. You can have a lot of wisdom and a lot of discernment around who and what you're exposed to. But grudges is a difficult thing. So we can notice the places where those belief systems hold one back. And there's a really important question that I use frequently in my own practice, and if you've been hanging around with me, you've heard me say this before, that when one comes up against the difficulty of not knowing, because of course I know, it's just like this is how things are, to be able to ask that widening question, what else is true? It's a profoundly important question because many things are true at once. And I find myself, when I hear the word the truth comes out of me, there's a place in which I have a little inner cringe because I don't think that there's one truth. It all depends on our views. It depends on our conditioning. So the more I can open up to what else is true, the bigger perspective I have. And the cool thing about that question is that the brain is wired to actually ask that towards a what is the word I want? Reframing. And the work of Richie Davidson, who's a neuropsychologist, psychiatrist at the University of Wisconsin in Madison, has done more research on the brain and meditators and contemplative practice than just about anybody. And he has found that there are 4 primary circuits in the brain that, when stimulated activated, bring around greater sense of well-being. And one of those circuits is the capacity to reframe a situation, the ability to say, what else is going on here? That is an incredible skill, to be able to say, what else is happening here? And the other 3 circuits, and I can't go into them all today, but I just want you to know them. One is a circuit that lights up around attention. So every time we're sitting in meditation and training the attention to stay put, it's strengthening that circuit in the brain. And I know in my own experience that the theory that Richie Davidson has, that it actually leads to more and more feelings of well-being. Every time I sit in formal meditation, there's a way in which my whole system settles and I feel better. And I've never had a meditation where I thought, oh, I wish I hadn't done that. I just have not had that experience. I think I can have a really restless, agitated meditation, but there's still something about it that settles me. So there's a circuit in the brain responsible for that. And then the other circuit, the third one, is about resiliency. And because each of us is wired differently, if we all get in the same fender bender, we're each going to just experience that differently. Our ability to bounce back after a difficult situation is different for everybody. But the more one experiences Can I be with this experience? What else is true here? How is it affecting my body? All the different things that we do in response to actually difficulty or trauma. Every time we find our balance again, it's strengthening that circuit in the brain that we can find our balance again. And my guess is you've all heard the instruction, begin again, especially in meditation. Every time you begin again, you're strengthening capacity. And there's a circuit in the brain for this. It's really pretty cool. And the fourth of these circuits, which I just love this, it's a circuit that is dedicated to generosity. Isn't that amazing? That the act of being part of the generous act, whether you are the giver or the receiver, stimulates that circuit in the brain. And it feels good. And he's also found, the research shows, that witnessing acts of generosity between people also stimulates the same circuit. So this is all going back to the capacity to not know, to come to any situation and say, what's happening here? What's going on? And really be open. And we know that one of the definitions of mindfulness is open, willing, curiosity, to be with what is. And another line in the Metta Sutta that is so critically important is the line towards the end that says, by not holding to fixed views, the pure-hearted one, having clarity of vision, is released from all unwholesome sense desires and is not born again into this world. That means we learn from our mistakes. Just means like, oh, when I don't hold on so tightly and I loosen the grip a little bit, things are easier. I can see more clearly. And the thing about not knowing that is so reassuring, I think, is you don't have to know everything. You don't have to know the answer. And a couple of years ago, I was teaching a retreat with my teacher, Sylvia Bourne, and we were all in this room, and she was on Zoom, and it was during a Q&A period, and there was a gentleman who came up to the camera to ask a question to Sylvia, and it was a question that had been with him for many, many years that had caused a lot of anguish. I don't remember what the question was, but it was really important to him. And he very wholeheartedly looked directly into the camera and asked Sylvia this question. And this is what she did. She came in closer like this. And she said, Tracy, were you there? Maybe you were there. Okay. Anyway, I'll never forget it. She came in really close to the camera and she said, I don't know the answer to this question, but I am listening intently. I am listening intently. Now, I still get chills telling you this, and I will never forget that moment, because that is what is necessary, is to show up and not have to know, not have to fix, not have to change, but what we're doing is accompanying each other. Ultimately, that's all we're doing. And to say, I don't know, but I'm here. What freedom. What freedom. So that's the first of these tenets, to show up not knowing. The second, bearing witness, to be able to have the courage to feel the joy and the suffering that is in the world. And here's what Zen peacemakers say about bearing witness. The practice of bearing witness is to see all of the aspects of a situation, including your attachments and judgments. When you bear witness, you open to the uniqueness of whatever is arising and meet it just as it is. It can strengthen your capacity to listen to others' point of view and allow a more nuanced picture of the situation to emerge. That sounds great, and it's a big practice. So we show up not knowing. And, in the not knowing, that willingness, that openness, and then in the bearing witness, hanging out, right here and seeing, oh, this is beautiful. Oh my God, this is so painful. And we are living in a time like this, without a doubt. What arises is when the difficulties arise, the natural reaction to that is what are known as the three toxins, or three giants, some people call it, of greed and ill will and delusion. We want more of what we want, that bolsters us, that feels good. We absolutely don't want what makes us not, what brings about difficult feelings. And what are those places, where are those places in us where we have grudge, where we do have ill will? Is it based on fear, anger, pain? Yes, it is, of course, based on history. So many things go into that. But the bearing witness says, oh, yeah, I've got some little bit of grudginess in me. Yeah, I'm holding on to something. And another story about Sylvia. She was having lunch with a friend, and they were talking about metta practice, loving kindness practice. And her friend said to her, so what do you think? You still holding any grudges on anybody? And Sylvia said, well, maybe one. And her friend said, you know, if you're one grudge away from a clean heart, do you think you could let it go? What a great story. The answer is maybe, maybe not. Let it be, let it go. I mean, this is not easy. So who among us doesn't have something on somebody, some rap sheet, on ourselves, on somebody else? So this practice of bearing witness is to say, oh, right, I'm not so different from anybody else. I too have these things. And to be able to see each other more clearly. Because the truth is, dukkha is true for everybody. Every single one of us is going to have pain. It's going to turn into suffering. This is what it is. Every single one of us is going to go through times around things that change that we don't want to change, or things that we want to change. But the thing about it is that impermanence and change are actually not the problem, because it's happening all the time. But when you hold on to something tightly and it changes anyway, you get rope burn, right? So loosening the grip to, yep, things are hard. It will change, sometimes for the better, sometimes not for the better. And within that are all the different feelings about it. But this is the bearing of the witness. Witness it. Witness it. Wendell Berry, his poem called Our Real Work. It may be that when we no longer know what to do, we've come to our real work. And that when we no longer know which way to go, we've come to our real journey. The mind that is not baffled is not employed. The impeded stream is the one that sings. Like, where is it written that everything was going to be a smooth ride? It's not how it works. But where, that if you look at that Venn diagram, I don't even know if it's a Venn diagram. It's 3 circles. The inner circle is when we're totally comfortable. Great. La, 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 la. And then the bigger outer circle is when we get into overwhelm and can't learn anything. But the middle circle, that place where there's some rub, that's where the learning happens. That's where the growth happens. So to be challenged a little bit, for the mind to be employed is good. To grapple is good. So not knowing, bearing witness, and the third is taking action. And this is action that arises from the not knowing, from the bearing witness. And it's like air holes get formed where the wisdom comes up. Oh, this is what I need to do. If you've ever had that experience of being stuck and you just hang out, say, I don't really know. I got to wait and see. That's the bearing witness. And then the answer comes. Oh, this is what I need to do. And you can trust that answer because it's not coming out of impulsivity. It's not coming out of reactivity. It's coming out of the beginner's mind, the opening, the seeing things more clearly. And it's impossible to know what action is going to be necessary in any given place or timetable, but you show up. And one of my very favorite stories about this, some of you have heard me talk about this. Last year, maybe it was about a year ago, the ice cream store in San Francisco called Smitten, which is a neighborhood, it's in the Mission, and the Mission is notorious for, it's just a place where so many people live, lots of unhoused people, lots of drug addiction, lots of retail area, and a lot of people really love the Mission and live around there. And so it's a mixed neighborhood. And so this ice cream store, Smitten, which, by the way, means love, the word smitten, it was vandalized. It was terribly vandalized with all kinds of anti-Semitic hate speech written across the building and the windows smashed. And I say it was anti-Semitic because it was, and the owner, a woman named Robin Sue Fisher, is a Jewish woman who has been running this store for many, many years. And it's like a neighborhood hub, this ice cream store. So when she came to work and saw that it had been so badly damaged, what she said about it is this. She said, at first I felt fear, and then I felt anger, and then I felt a deep sorrow, and then I felt empathy, and that's how I got to love. At first I felt fear, and then I felt anger, and then I felt a deep sorrow, and then I felt empathy, and that's how I got to love. That's the arc. Because of course she felt fear and anger and despair. Who wouldn't? Completely natural. And then to get a wider view, the people who did this must have really been suffering. What could their motivation have been? And then to see our common humanity, that every single one of us has all these different parts in us. But we train in this practice of harmlessness, so those parts of us are quieted, get dissolved. And she had these t-shirts made, pink t-shirts with white ice cream cones on them. And they say, in the spirit of ice cream, I choose love. In the spirit of ice cream, I choose love. And she's donated all of the proceeds of these t-shirts to a new museum in San Francisco that's opening soon. It's called the Courage Museum. And the museum, one of their focus, it says on their website, they said, is ending the public health crisis caused by violence and the hate that fuels it. To see violence and hate as public health crises, they are. They are. And our practice is one of the remedies to undoing that, of deeply understanding the pain that is in the world. And what she said is she's determined in a world filled with division and hate to add a little sweetness. So can we all add a little sweetness? It's not easy. It's not all up to any of us to do it ourselves, but we are called to the work. We're called to show up, to do what we can, to rest when we need to, and to stand back up again, begin again, see what's happening, and take the next caring action. And it doesn't have to be on a huge scale. The Buddha said, whatever path of action you find that brings good and happiness to all, do that in the same way that the moon is in the path of the sun. Whatever path of action you find that is in line with you, do that, because we know we need diversity, biodiversity, right? Ecosystems and systems are their healthiest, can only be sustained by all of the different ways we all show up. So it's not up to you to do it all by yourself. You know, we come to Sangha because we need each other so we can keep doing this work. And I'll end with this piece from Rebecca Solnit, who's such a beautiful thinker and writer. She was writing about natural disasters and talking about the aftermath of Katrina, which has now been 20 years, and how so many people were harmed and died, and so many people were trying to help. And we could apply it to the Los Angeles fires, right? How many people have been displaced and hurt and harmed, etc. And the overwhelming magnitude of the amount of work that is necessary. And so this is what she says about that piece. She says, get your boat in the water. You're not going to rescue everybody, but it's not your job to do it all by yourself. And rescuing somebody is deeply meaningful, even if you can't rescue everybody. Nobody rescued everybody. A lot of people rescued somebody. That's our work. Show up not knowing, bear witness, and take the next caring action. Thanks for listening. We have some time to talk with each other. And anybody can chat in a question or just unmute and let's talk with each other about anything I said. Yes, Michelle, please. There you go. Oh, can't hear you. I wonder what's up. Is your computer on mute and not just the square? There you go. I think I heard you.
Maybe
There
now
you go.
can.
Yeah, yeah.
First of all, so nice to see you. So nice to see you.
You too.
Happy to see you. I appreciate this teaching so much, especially just starting with the beginner's mind. As you say that, to me, it speaks to curiosity. And I've heard that in Buddhist teaching a number of times, is to be curious. And I don't consider myself a very creative person, and the two are sort of tied together for me. But recently, I'm not sure what's sort of clicked in a different way, but I find that even within the context of my family, that coming to situations with a beginner's mind and with curiosity has just in the last few weeks de-escalated a number of things that would have blown up otherwise. And it's been, I mean, pleasing to me to it didn't come from a place of thinking I'm angry, I need to be curious. It was just, in situations with my kids or my husband, something that normally irritates me, just the switch of genuine curiosity. Why did you say that? Or how come you did that? Just gave me an answer that I hadn't even expected. So I was obviously holding on to, I do hold on to ideas of what I think a person's reason is, why they behave, and just being able to let go of those little things. Just such a huge change. So I appreciate the teaching. And I also appreciate very much what you said at the end, that it doesn't have to be on a large scale.
It
know
actually can't be,
I,
really.
I know there's so much going on in the world. And
Yeah.
so in a way it almost feels, when you were talking about this and I was relating it to my experience, thinking it almost feels silly with everything going on in the world to relate such a teaching to something so personal and simple. So I really appreciate that, the
Thank
quote
you.
Buddhist words, that it doesn't have to be on a
Right.
grandiose scale. So
No,
thank you.
no, thank you. And so the curiosity is in the what else is true.
Yeah.
Just bringing that, and you don't have to use those specific words, but it's the same opening. Thank you. Who else?
Hi there.
Will, hi. Nice to meet you.
Hi, nice to meet you too, Heidi Bourne. I wrote a short story for my website, which has come out of nowhere last week and is just there. And it just before I came in here, and I'm shocked I was late because of it. And then your words overlapped mine so much.
Oh, I love that. I love
I'm
that.
moved to share it quickly if you're
Sure.
open to it.
Totally.
Okay. Once upon a time, in a world woven with stories of seekers and sages, there lived an energetic, mature Black man named Elijah. Elijah was a wanderer of the soul, a pilgrim on a quest for meaning. From a young age, he felt an insatiable longing, a call to seek the divine in every corner of existence. Elijah's journey took him through the rich tapestry of spiritual and religious faiths. He also immersed himself in the powerful traditions of Black Baptist churches of his parents, where the spirit of resilience and hope was palpable. The passionate sermons and soulful hymns spoke to his heart, teaching him that faith was not just a matter of belief, but a source of strength and liberation. He drew inspiration from the stories of struggle and triumph, understanding that his journey was also about uplifting others and fighting for justice. He knelt in the quiet sanctuaries of Catholic churches where the stained glass filtered light like divine whispers. He meditated in Buddhist temples, the scent of incense entwining with the silence of ancient wisdom. He danced in the rhythm of Sufi gatherings, twirling under the twilight sky in ecstasy. He studied the Torah in synagogues, finding solace in the stories of endurance and faith. He bowed in reverence in mosques, feeling the unity of voices raised in prayer. Elijah explored Hindu ashrams, marveling at the vibrant deities and cosmic dance of creation and destruction. And I'll end with this. Elijah found profound wisdom in the teachings of the Baha'i faith, which emphasized the unity of all religions and the oneness of humanity. He learned that every faith was a chapter in the same divine story, a message of love and peace that transcended boundaries. This understanding deepened his respect for every belief system he encountered, reinforcing his commitment to a path that was more defined than any one, but led to the Most High. It ends with an experience of him having a butterfly light on him and share that he was always on the path of the Bodhisattva.
That's beautiful.
I won't share those last 5 paragraphs though, in the interest of time.
Oh, that's
but
beautiful.
Yeah,
but
you just confirmed all of what I'm so timidly writing.
Yeah,
I'm in tears as you're speaking because I'm like, wait, there is a place for my voice.
There is a place for your voice. Oh my God. Will, I have chills. That moment of knowing there is a place for my voice. Yeah, you belong. Right? That deep, deep place of belonging, and that like all of the wars that are fought over religions, it's such folly. It is such complete folly when it's all saying the same thing, I think, and what you're saying is don't hurt each other. We're all connected. The air I breathe is the air that you're going to breathe. We all got COVID. I mean, like I shouldn't say we all, but we can be practical about this. That was beautiful. And thank you for your courage to do that, to share with us.
Thank you. And the heart is like, boo, 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 boo.
Oh, you're great. I get it.
Thank you.
I get it. Just feel your feet on the floor and your butt in the chair and just, you're here. It's great. Exactly. Anybody else in our last minute? Okay, then. So here's the very shameless plug. If you identify as a woman and you'd like to come be on retreat with me at Big Bear next month, we'll be there Wednesday to Sunday, March 5th to March 9th. And it's all about sacred connection and belonging. And if you can't come and you know somebody who'd like to come, we got plenty of room. We'd love to have you.